podcast family. I hope everyone's well. So this is the next part following the deployment video. We're going to show you the best way for your movement after doing that deployment, and also what can happen in the combat phase. So we're just going to touch on those little sections. We are going to miss a few things out. We're not looking to make a full battle report of back and forth. So we are simulating some stuff and just trying to fast forward and speed up things so it's more informative for you, and so you can just see the real impact that you can have and have so much fun with this Nurgle army. And so when you go into your next game, you're prepared a little bit more and a little bit more clued up of what you can surprise your opponent with, and hopefully create a great game from these lessons. So let's get into it and let's see what this Nurgle army can do. Okay, so we've simulated the movement of what we believed were best from the Nighthaunt, and what we've done is we've left some dice by them so you can see who would have ran. Orange is for obviously battle line, green for heroes, and a purple dice there for our other units. So we know what units have run. Now we have skipped the hero phase. There is no shooting in this force, so we don't have to worry about shooting. Apart from a Tomb Banshee, she has a screen, but you've got to be within 10 inches. She's not within that, otherwise we would show you that interaction and how Nurgle can prevent the wounds. But hopefully we can now get into this round. So we're going to go straight into the Nurgle movement phase. We're going to forget the hero phase, because again, down to player preference, you'll have your own lists that you would take. Now, what we're going to do is go straight in with our Plague Bearers. Now, this would be our first unit that we want to move, because it will then free up the Harbinger of Decay there, which will then allow us to push our Blight Kings forward and our Lord of Plagues forward, and possibly push the Great Unclean One forward, but it does really depend on how the situations unfold, even in this first battle round. So we'll just start off here. So these guys are very slow, within the 3 inches. We get our +3 movement. They move 4 plus the 3, 7, and they can run as well. So we're just going to roll a dice here. Okay, that's a 3, so that is now 10-inch movement. Okay, I mean 10 inches for what is presumably an extremely slow force is pretty bonkers. We're just going to keep our little tail whip here as well. Okay. Oh, we got stuck on our tree there. So that should be able to fit around to here, this to here, this to here. And what we want to do, that's fine. So we're just going to keep this formation here. Now we've got more of a hillside rather than a snake, but you want to keep a curvature there. And the reason you want to do that is because, one, if you've got positive scenery pieces like here, you still benefit from them. Two, if you're going to have any heroes that are not a monster close by that you're not deciding to move because there may be an extremely big threat there, you're going to help them out with the Lookout Sirs as well. So we always say just try and keep a Nurgle army compact, because the more compact they are, the harder they are to break down. So the next thing we can now do is with our Harbinger of Decay. He moved 12 inches. So the gaps are going to be very tight on that. So what we'll actually do, we'll jump to these guys here first. They're getting the +3 from this, so this is 7 as well. So 7 up to here. Okay, he'll be coming up to here as well. He's now 15, which will bring him up to here. And now it leaves us a grey and clean one. He's a movement 8, so he gets +3 because of the bell as well. He's within 3 inches of himself, so that's going to be 11. So we'll just move our happy lad here. Now this is the position you want to be putting yourself in at the end of your movement phase. So we've got a bird's eye view of the battlefield after the movement phase. So we've pre-measured out the Blight King's range from the Banshees. They're 7 inches away, and that is the easiest target to go for. And by targeting them, we gain the left-hand side objective, giving us 1 extra point. Now, if we look at the Plague Bearers, there's a red line. That's to represent a do not move. The reason we say that is because you're holding that center objective, and you at the moment have a defensive shape where even though a lot can try and come into you, you're able to just hold that defensive ground and take from the wings. So let's get into the combat phase and see what happens. So picking up from where we left off, we're going to go with what we said, and we're just going to get straight into it now with the charges from the Blight Kings. Okay, so we've got an 8. We've already pre-measured this and we know it's 7 inches away. I'm just going to move them in, leave them half an inch away. Like so. Okay, so actually just going to shift that up. Like that. So, we're now going to kick this off. And we're going to be starting obviously with our Blight Kings, because no one has the ability to fight first or last in these 2 armies, so no headache in that section. It's 15 attacks, hitting on 3s, winning on 3s, exploding on 6s, so good fun. And wow, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 6s. If we had got 1 more, I think that would have been that would have been poetry, wouldn't it? 7 6s for Nurgle would have been beautiful. Okay, so these all now turn into d6 hits, and we get 10, 15 additional. So we've got our 6 there. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 12 there. So, and then 3 there. So, let's rock and roll this out. We're looking for 3s, and it's a bad day to be a ghost. It's like these guys are Ghostbusters or something. So 4 ups now, because they would have naturally ignored the rend because they're ethereal. There's 4 fouls in there, which is highly unfortunate. So they've just rolled, if I can bring that down for you, sorry, 2 2s, a 1 and a 3. So we remove these guys off. They're only 1 wound apiece, unfortunately. They're not out of the game for good for Nighthaunt. You know, they have got summoning abilities, so that is a big bonus for Nighthaunt, is that if they've got the keyword summonable, they come back. But this is the situation you would now be in ending T1. You've got this objective, and that's 3 points. 2 for primary, 1 for the side. But you get an additional point if you have a battle line unit controlling objective within 6 inches of it. Well, if you're controlling objective and their battle line, which these both are, that means an additional point for each. So that puts us at 5. So it's 5-1 now. I believe we may have had the score incorrectly up the first time round, because when we was quickly reading the shifting objectives, we just thought it said a unit within 6, but it's not, it's a battle line unit, so it's 5-1. And this now puts our Nighthaunt player, if you know they were here, we're just going to call them player A, in a predicament, because they have to win the roll-off. If they don't win the roll-off and you get the next turn, then you get to push forward. You can now naturally just push these guys forward. They're 4 inches, not have to worry, and come in to the Knight of Shrouds. Alternatively, what you can do is push up here and try and deal with this issue here. Yes, they are by mystical, but you have a few different choices. Or what you can try and do is sit and hold. But if you want to be the aggressor that you should be with Nurgle, in all honesty, you push forward, you get your heroes to come in and support, sit back, and then just keep on giving the bonuses. You're sitting at 1 command point, you've not used that command point, which we weren't looking to do. We were really praying and hoping, and we were lucky enough to make sure we got that 7-inch charge, so you didn't have to use that command point. So you're now building up your command points. You're now at 2 command points. What you can then do, depending on where the objective moves, is be actually quite aggressive in creating a green wall with the plague bearers, just stringing them out and just saying, you shall not pass. We won't recommend it if you're playing maybe against something like Osaki Bone Reapers, because they can just take out a certain model, take that model out, and then battle shock issues. But if you're playing against a Nighthaunt player, if you're playing against an Ironef player, a Slanesh player, you pick where the units die from, but just creating a big line and saying, you shall not pass this line here. You won't actually come past and take my objectives. And I'm just going to lock you in and keep you here for as long as I can, because I'm resilient. Will frustrate and frustrate and frustrate your opponent, and actually make it into a very nitty gritty tight game for maybe a round or 2. Because if you're then consistently scoring 5 points, and your opponent is only scoring maybe 1 or 2 points, by T4 comes, you're too far ahead. They can't catch you, and you've sealed it in the bag. And that's when you can start to relax and really just churn it down. Just churn it down a little bit, and maybe go for something more adventurous than you would be in the thick of it. And obviously the first 3 rounds are the thick side of it. So we'll leave it there for now. When we come back in episode 2, we'll be starting off with the roll-off, seeing who wins that and how this is going to sort of evolve and where it's going to end up. So if you liked it, give us a thumb up, hit the subscribe button and the notification so you're always aware when we upload a new video, and we'll see you in the next one.